Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
And away we do go. Kevin O'Connell, happy New Year's Day to all. The Vikings and Lions, of course, on Sunday for all the marbles. It's Judd, it's Declan, Phil taking a day off to observe January 1st, which, of course, is the end of really the holiday celebration, which means we can all get back to work on Thursday, which will be fantastic. But, of course, I'm not going to talk about that. We are going to talk about the fact that, Dex, one of the biggest games, I mean, in recent memory as far as, like, the Vikings being good, and obviously Detroit and the Vikings both 14-2. What is your excitement level as we get set? Because this is really the first work day for preparation for this game.
Very excited, man. I love Sunday Night Football. Vikings obviously didn't have a ton of primetime games this year, so I like waiting. And I know some Vikings fans are anxious because it's like, oh, we're gonna have to wait all day for the game. I'm just absolutely juiced for it. I think this is going to be, probably the biggest regular season Vikings game in terms of anticipation that I can remember. The other ones, obviously the Packers-Vikings one from 2015 season, which decided the division. Same
night,
thing.
Right?
Yep, that was a Sunday night game.
Yep.
Same thing with the AP going for the rushing record in 2012. The Vikings looking to sneak into a playoff spot. It wasn't as built up. It was more of, oh my God, just figure out how to get in, was the debacle to end of the first year of Kirk in 2018. I mean, that wasn't anticipated. It was more like, okay, just beat the JV Bears and you got the last playoff spot. And instead you laid an egg in probably one of the more disappointing Vikings games of all time.
That was aggravation.
Yes.
Like that wasn't fun.
No.
Like, it's like, can you beat the Bears team that's going to rest guys? And the answer was no.
Yeah, it was bad. But no, I am very excited for this. It's going to be awesome. KOC versus Dan Campbell, man. I mean, yeah, Dan Campbell, who doesn't give a bleep. We saw that on Monday Night Football a couple days ago. And he gets to go against Kevin O'Connell again. I'm very excited to see what happens. I think the thing I'm really interested in, because I would actually say, as creative as KOC can be, I would say he's conservative on the fourth downs and the going for it. It's like he's not all in on all that type of stuff. Does that change in a game like this on Sunday? I think that I'm curious to see. Like, if it's a 4th and 3 from your own 38 and Will Reichard might be a little banged up, is this more of, do you go for it situations? You're at midfield and it's 4th and 2. Do you go for it in those situations? I think those are the things from Kevin O'Connell. Or is he going to throw a little bit more trickery involved to see if he can keep Dan Campbell on his toes and keep his offense on the field?
So one thing, Dex, that we definitely know 100% is you do not want to be sitting in front of your TV as kickoff nears, and guess what? You're like, I forgot the snacks. How could I forget the snacks? I'm having a party. I'm an idiot. Well, guess what?
Quick Trip.
Dad here to remind you the Quick Trip. Quick Trip is the place to get your snacks, to get all of your pre-game festivities, your food, your drinks. Quick Trip is the place to go. In fact, we are checking out a Quick Trip right now. And what makes it so great? It's a convenience store that's a grocery store. I mean, look at the Karuba coffee. We're about to, as we always do, round the corner. Every day we round the corner, and there are the pizzas. Quick Trip, an endless supply of exactly what you need. Customer service is fantastic. And if the gas tank is low, do not despair. Quick Trip can take care of you there with a quality gas guarantee. Quick Trip is the place to stop for all your snacks, for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is, of course, the official presenting sponsor, and we appreciate them, of Purple Daily. And also, Dex, before we start, let's welcome aboard a new sponsor here. That is our newest friends at MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air. I want to talk about commitment here, because since there's an unwavering commitment to customers here and community that has been at their foundation. Building trust with customers, their top priority. And you know what? We've all had things go wrong with plumbing, right, Dex? We've all had things go wrong with plumbing, and what happens then? Like, you're nervous. You're like, I got to get this fixed. It's going to cost a lot. What am I going to do? What you need is someone you trust. And the folks at MSP Plumbing, Heating and Air are people that you can trust. January offer right now on the table, $50 off any HVAC or plumbing repair. So if something goes wrong here, you want people that have a commitment to you, who are going to take you through the process, who are going to treat you like a friend, and that is exactly what's going to happen in this case. Call them at 615-4292, 615-615-4292, or check out their website, which is msplumbingheatingair.com, msplumbingheatingair.com. Welcome aboard. It's always nice to have someone that you can trust, especially for major home repairs like that. All right, let's get to a conversation. I believe this was brought up by my former Star Tribune colleague, Kevin Seifert. Now does a great job covering the Vikings, the dean of the beat, for ESPN.com, Dex. And it involves Daniel Jones. Not Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones. Here's the interesting thing. So the Vikings right now on their 53-man roster have had Darnold, obviously, Nick Mullins, obviously, and Brett Rippon is not on the practice squad. He's on the 53. So
Yep.
they are carrying 3 QBs. Daniel Jones, who was signed by the Vikings to their practice squad after being let go by the Giants. The interesting thing is this, and I didn't realize this, but it makes perfect sense. Daniel Jones has to spend at least a week or time on the 53-man roster to get the Vikings consideration for a compensatory pick for 2026 if he leaves. He has not done that yet. And so O'Connell, in his press conference on Monday, talked about the fact that that is a conversation. And, of course, if you bump Daniel Jones up to the 53, does that mean Brett Rippon gets released and re-signed to the practice squad? And does that mean that you're still going to roll with Mullins as your backup quarterback? Like, there's a lot of interesting things here. But the fact is that it would make business sense for the Vikings to put Daniel Jones on that 53-man roster for this game to get consideration for a 2026 compensatory pick. Unless, let me paint this picture for you, Dex. Unless the Vikings know that Daniel Jones is coming back regardless. In which case, you wouldn't be concerned about a compensatory pick because you wouldn't get a compensatory pick for him coming back. And I don't think that it is out of bounds to discuss that. Because as I said a couple of days ago on PD, why is Daniel Jones here? Like was Daniel Jones just here to be on the practice squad to hide away? Or does he want the Darnold experience? Which doesn't mean he'll start in 2025, but definitely means that he could come in if Darnold's gone as McCarthy's backup.
Yep.
You know, McCarthy is coming off knee surgery. He is young. Daniel Jones is, I believe, the same age as Darnold. I think right now they're both 27, born about a month apart. Darnold was the 3rd overall pick by the Jets in 2018. The next year, the Giants took Jones at 6th. So what do you think? Do you think that there is a chance that Jones is very open to actually returning to continue trying to get his career back on track? Because week after week, the one thing he has watched is the magic that KO has worked with a guy who was a failure from the same market and a guy who was deemed to be a laughingstock and now is considered to be a very hot property in Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Daniel Jones, look, I flamed out in New York. Right? Like I'm not really looking. If I'm putting myself in Daniel Jones' shoes here, so forgive me here if I'm making bigger assumptions than I should have. But
No, go ahead.
But I've already made my money. Like, I've made a decent amount of change. I fizzled out in New York, and now I need to resurrect things a little bit. And instead of going to play for the Raiders or even going to another, dumpster fire organization, why don't I go to someone who's familiar with me? And it looks like Kevin O'Connell and Daniel Jones have a relationship of some sort. Like, he spoke glowingly about him before he got here and obviously after he got here. So there's clearly a connection between the two. And Daniel Jones was wise to pair himself with a head coach who can probably resurrect things and just honestly observe. Like, if I'm Daniel Jones and I'm even scout team quarterback at best, or maybe I'm just on the sideline soaking things in or helping out Sam Darnold with preparation or even helping out J.J. McCarthy with preparation. I think sometimes Vikings fans would hear that and like, oh no, Daniel Jones should stay far away from every quarterback on the Vikings roster. I know what you're thinking, and I understand your fear there. But Daniel Jones is a veteran quarterback who also came into this building and beat you. Yes, Ed Donatell's to blame. Regardless, Daniel Jones came into a building that we are all talking about that the Vikings need to have for playoff advantage, and he beat you. Daniel Jones did that. Like, carved you up with his feet. So did Saquon Barkley. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't all Danny Dimes. But regardless, he came into a building and figured out how to win a playoff game, for God's sakes. So I do think he's definitely like their safety net. The Vikings organization looks at him as their safety net of, if we can't bring Darnold back and we don't want to spend money on another bridge guy, well, let's bridge Daniel Jones instead of bringing in a new cat and new face to learn the new systems and all that noise. He's definitely like their blankie right now. Like, he's definitely their binky. He's their safety net in the event things go wrong, can pop that sucker in, and hopefully things are going to be okay. But I wouldn't be like upset if Daniel Jones is activated, and I'm sure there's some people even looking or hearing this episode saying, "Oh, so you're implying he's a play away?" God, no, that's not the case. But
Yeah, Brett Rippon ain't playing.
No, Brett Rippon's
like,
not
yeah.
playing. So I think Daniel Jones being here is the best thing for his career, and it's a Vikings insurance policy essentially.
And I do think that there is a case to be made that the fact he chose to come here, which I think was very smart, as opposed to, I mean, he had chances to go to places he probably would have started, and it would have been a disaster, but he probably would have started. And I gotta think, Dex, that in watching this now, since he signed here in I think it was late November, if I'm not mistaken on that, I gotta think that what he has seen has been eye-opening. I mean, one, it's a good team, it's a great infrastructure, it's a great coaching staff, and so I mean, I would not be surprised at all. And before, to your point, before we laugh about it, like Daniel Jones, remember, this is the exact same thing we said about Sam Darnold. Right. Sam Darnold, $10 million for that bust, and now he's an absolute bargain. And now we're pounding the table and saying, how could you let Sam Darnold go? You people are idiots. Well, the common denominator potentially here is Kevin O'Connell. So yeah, I think it's very interesting. And from a business standpoint, if you think he's going to walk, I could see activating him for sure, just to trigger the potential for a compensatory pick. But I also am curious if he has said, you know what, I probably am not going to walk, because like, is he rehabilitated through spending the rest of the year here, or does, if Darnold leaves, and look, I think the Vikings have a pretty good idea internally if Darnold wins the Super Bowl, yes, it's going to change things. But I think the Vikings have a pretty good internal feeling about what they're going to do. So it's a situation worth monitoring. And before we laugh at another washed up high draft pick QB, keep in mind there is one who has been incredibly successful now too. So that's my thought. I do think it's interesting. I did not realize, full disclosure, didn't even realize or think about the fact that he had to be on the active roster for a week, but that does make sense. I suppose you wouldn't get a compensatory pick for a guy who leaves off your practice squad.
Right, exactly. So I'm curious on it too. I think in a perfect world they would still like to bring back Darnold, but it's got to be on the Vikings' terms, and they're not going to overpay to keep him. Like the franchise tag's the best option, but also like that's a bit of a handshake agreement with Sam and the agent of being like, look, I know this is not your probably first option in terms of seeking out a big payday. I would love Darnold back on a team-friendly deal. I think every Vikings fan and everyone that covers the team would support that type of thing. But where does Darnold think about this? This isn't on the top of his mind right now, and rightfully so, it shouldn't be. They have a huge game against the Lions, then hopefully there's a playoff run. Like, these are conversations to hopefully have in late February, March, instead of in early January.
Sure.
But where does Darnold sit on this? Like, his career was resurrected here. He's obviously very thankful for O'Connell. Where does Darnold really fall? Like, yeah, life-changing money, of course. That this might be his only opportunity to seek a life-changing money contract, even though he has obviously signed to a first rookie scale contract. Where does he stand? Does he want comfort over financial, money securing? Like, I don't know. I'm very curious how it goes.
Unless the Vikings are going to put the franchise tag on him at approximately what it's projected at $40 million for 2025. the issue is this too, because I could very easily see him, even if he takes a team-friendly deal here, he's not going to sign another one-year contract.
Yeah.
So that sort of becomes my question then, because the one thing that I can't get my head around is I don't see the Vikings trading McCarthy. I just don't. And so if they're not going to do that, and they say, hey, Sam, we love you, we'd like to keep you, and we know that you'll come back for pick a 2025 salary, $30 million. So like something that would be very reasonable for a quarterback coming off a great season. Is he going to say, oh yeah, that's great, and I will sign a 1-year contract again? That's not, so that the one thing that's not in the cards, unless you franchise him and just keep him, is I don't see him signing the term that's less than 3 years. And so it's going to get intriguing there. But Daniel Jones, keep an eye on that one. Keep an eye.
Okay.
All right, we have version 10, Pigskin Pecking order from Sports Dad.
Love it.
There are some changes here.
Ooh, okay.
There are some moves, a team out, a team in. Big football weekend coming up. And Dex, fantasy seasons are done now. So how can you have fun in week 18 if your team is done? And we all hope that you won your championship.
Exactly. We all hope that you won your fantasy football team, whether you auto drafted, whether you we're doing mock drafts and doing plenty of different options. The good thing with Underdog is, you continue to play fantasy football. You could play it all the way through the Super Bowl. That's right. You could draft players from both teams if they're in the Super Bowl. So, like when the Vikings, for example, are playing the Chiefs, you could do a whole roster of Vikings and Chiefs in the Super Bowl next month, right? Huh? That'd be pretty fun. New users, promo code SCORE for a 50% deposit match. Current users, appreciate everyone sending me all their big winnings on Underdog. That's awesome when you support our sponsor. It supports us here at Score North. And those current users, you'll get some profit boosts. You'll get some tokens. You'll get some gimme picks. I saw one that came in on Purdy yesterday or on Monday Night Football. So a lot of fun options at Underdog. Promo code SCORE for a 50% match for first-time users.
Outstanding. All right. First team out. So they've been in the rankings, I believe, possibly for 9 weeks. It's been an extended run. Very impressive team until the last 3 weeks.
Oh, boy.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are out. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who have lost 3 consecutive games, have played really poorly. I don't know what's up there. I've seen stories that there's supposedly some type of locker room fracture on defense, supposedly. Yeah, something weird.
Very un-Tomlin-like.
Yeah, it's very un-Tomlin-like. Now, Mike has said, I will say, Mike has taken on some head cases before, Antonio Brown.
Right.
And so he's willing to sort of push the envelope in that case, but it's not working now. Russell Wilson's returned to earth a bit. And, I mean, he was playing pretty damn well for expectations. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are out for right now.
So they were 10 last week.
So they were, they weren't 10 last week. I think they were 7.
Oh, wow.
7 or 8
So
last
they have really fallen out.
Oh, yeah. I was giving them the benefit of the doubt until now when I bring the hammer down. And as we approach the last week of the regular season, the Pittsburgh Steelers fall out.
Okay.
Making their way in. They've been in, they've been out, they've been in, they've been out. At number 10, the Los Angeles Chargers.
The Chargers.
So their last 2 games, they beat Denver. In fact, they rallied in a Thursday night game against the Broncos, 34-27. Then they beat the Patriots, shocking, on Saturday, 40-7. They're 10-6, point differential plus 97. They've won 2 consecutive games. Strength of schedule, 480. Strength of victory hurts them. It's 350. It's not so great. But the Chargers, who have been teetering, they've, again, in, out, in. They are back in at number 10.
Okay.
At number 9, the Los Angeles Rams. So they beat the Cardinals in a very entertaining, very close game on Saturday in Inglewood. They stay at 9. They're 10-6, minus 14 in point differential. They've now won 5 consecutive games. Look out. Strength of schedule, 502. It's good. Strength of victory is also good, 449. Matthew Stafford clicking a bit. Sean McVay. I do think the Rams are a dangerous playoff team. Like, I like them.
Yeah. Good coach, good quarterback. It's always dangerous in the playoffs.
Aaron Donald being retired does hurt them,
Yep.
of course. Number 8, moving up 2 spots. Another wonky team. I really like them, but they've been up and down. But they beat the Falcons on Sunday night. The Washington Commanders. Dan Quinn, first-year coach there. 11-5, point differential plus 90. They've won 4 consecutive games now. Strength of schedule 434, strength of victory 347. So that's not great. A fantastic young QB in Jaden Daniels. So the Washington Commanders are number 8, up 2 spots from 10 last week.
You know, they're exciting. Jaden Daniels looks like he's going to be one of the more exciting quarterbacks. It always feels like when we see a rookie quarterback and a team have like unexpected success, and it does obviously happen. It's more of how do they respond in their sophomore year. So like, how does Daniels respond in 2025?
You're setting them up for failure already.
I'm not setting them up for failure. It's just adversity.
It's like Stroud. It's like Stroud.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it gets tougher.
Yeah,
Phil, man, as I've always said, the difference in this league is these coordinators and coaches have nothing to do all spring and summer but watch film of you.
Yes.
So like, yes. But he's been a great story thus far. So the Commanders are number 8. Number 7, dropping 2 spots after a loss at US Bank Stadium to the Vikings. The Green Bay Packers dropped 2 spots. 11-5. They are point differential plus 124. Still damn impressive. Strength of schedule, really impressive. The strength of their schedule is 549. The strength of their victory, 411. So the Packers drop 2 spots. And I think, as we talked about a couple of days ago, Dex, I think we can unequivocally say now, if there were any questions, that the 2024 Vikings are better than the 2024 Packers. But that does not make the Packers a bad team.
No, I mean, for right or wrong reasons, everyone seems to be okay with them going on the road. I mean, look, they were a 7 seed last year, went into Jerry World, just ran the Cowboys out of the stadium. So like they're a good team. They're a solid team. The Vikings are definitely a better team. I don't think most Packer fans are even arguing that at this point. But I will say this seems like a very similar script to last year's Packers team, who boat raced a team on Wild Card Weekend, had a chance to be in the NFC title game, and when they lost in the divisional round last year. So still a dangerous team. And in fact, like if the Packers played the Eagles, which is set up right now, if the Packers had the 7 seed, they'd play the 2 seed. I'm tempted to take the Eagles in that, or tempted to take, the Packers in that situation.
Interesting. The Dallas game too. Now, in retrospect, Dex, the Dallas game was sort of a preview of the 2024 boys, right? Like the Cowboys, like because that game was such a. They basically destroyed them. Yeah. And at the time, it's like, holy cow, is this Packers team that good? And I do think that this team was good, but I think in retrospect now, we saw the cliff, like the Cowboys were going off the cliff, and we didn't recognize it.
No, that's accurate.
And I do wonder if you're right. I'm telling you, the Eagles thing still feels weird to me. And Saquon's been great, absolutely fantastic, but it just feels like there's always something going on there, and I just don't know. Like the Vikings are so incredibly right now well coached, right? Yep. And I think the Eagles are well run as a team. They do good work front office perspective, but I mean, Nick Sirianni's still a clown.
He is.
He's
a bit of a clown. He wins, but he's a clown.
He does, but he's a complete clown. I just don't know if you can become. I don't know if you can be a clown long term. And he's won, so good for him. But it just feels like there is. It just feels like if the Packers went in there and beat them, it might be the beginning of the end there. And plus, I did find it funny that I think it was Cowboys owner Stephen Jones, Jerry's kid, talked about the fact that the Eagles, salary cap wise, are about to be up against it, which also, as the Vikings have learned, can be a problem. All right, number 6, moving up 1 spot, a dangerous team, dangerous team, led by potential MVP, certainly candidate Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens. So until now, the Ravens and Steelers were vying, and like Baltimore was in the wild card spot, and Pittsburgh, it looked like they would probably win the division. Not anymore. First of all, the Ravens destroyed the Texans, and the Texans, who are not in my rankings, but they are a playoff team. The Ravens 11-5, point differential plus 132, 3 consecutive wins. Get this too, Dex. Strength of schedule, 555. Strength of victory, 551. So the teams they've beaten have a winning percentage of 551.
Yeah, beating good
That's
teams.
freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's the opposite of the Packers. I mean, they went. Did they? I think I saw this right.
And the
Did they go
Vikings, by the
1-5 in the division? I think they did.
They got
have
swept
one
by the
win.
Vikings. Yeah, they got swept by the Vikings. They
They're
got
1-4 in the
They got
division.
swept by the Lions. Yep, and then
So they play the Bears
on
to
Sunday.
close the year. Yes. So
Yeah.
they're 1-5 1-4 in the division, and 11-1 against everybody
yeah.
else this year.
Strength of schedule for Green Bay, 549. Strength of victory, 411.
Yep.
That's a huge drop or fall off. So, yeah. So, 6 through 10, Ravens, Packers, Commanders, Rams, and Chargers. Top 5, sponsored by our friends at Padregs. Padregs Brewing, which is Sports Dad's favorite beer. In fact, it is the official beer of the Sports Dad right there. I've been talking about their fantastic beers. Now, I want to talk to you about 2 things. The first one, distribution. Guess what? Padregs has a distributor now where you can find them in more and more places. Kowalski's, Haskell's, Hy-Vee, Total Wine. Carry them now. Most independent liquor stores in the greater metro and Rochester carry them. I've talked about the Irish Red for quite some time. There's a porter I've tried that's delicious. The IPA, absolutely fantastic. And now I want to talk about a chance to hang out at Padregs with the boys from, guess what? Purple Daily. That's right. I believe it's going to be our 3rd Unplugged. Throw it up there. The 3rd Unplugged that we're going to do. It's going to be a Vikings playoff preview. So a PD Unplugged Tuesday, January 7th from 5 to 7 p.m. You must register to attend, but there's no charge. It's just a head count thing. And the best part is we get up there. It'll be Phil, Dex, and Judd, of course. We'll get up there and yap, but we will also have a microphone for you to take your questions and your hottest takes. All attendees also get a free pint glass and 1 free Padregs beer. Must be 21 to attend, but Declan, that's going to be a fantastic time. A very exciting night, 5 to 7 p.m., Tuesday, January 7th. ScoreNorth.com to register now.
Oh, yeah. Should be a fun time. I have a dentist appointment the day before.
That won't be bad.
Won't be too bad.
Like just for a cleaning?
Just for a cleaning, hopefully. I still have, this is going to, I know it shocks some people. I still have wisdom teeth.
So do I. They get on me every time.
And I don't, so actually, I don't have a top left one. And eventually the human species will catch up because people are pulling wisdom teeth and your genetics, it'll be passed down. Like eventually people won't have wisdom teeth.
Really?
But I don't have a top left one. I just don't have one. But the top right one is fully through. Now it's not causing me issues. Like it's not a problem, but they have been, yes, kind of pushing at me to get it pulled. And they want to do it in June, a month before my wedding, and I said no, that's not happening. So I said maybe we can talk about it in 2025, maybe after the Vikings win a Super Bowl, then maybe I can consider pulling that. But I got a lot of timelines to work out. We got Vikings season. I got twin stuff. Like there's only a certain window I can go under for surgery, whether it's wisdom teeth or major or minor surgery.
Sports Dad, every time he gets in the chair, is confronted with this.
Yeah.
Well, have you thought about having those teeth out yet? And I'm like, I know I should, but I don't want to. Top 5. Number 5. The aforementioned Philadelphia Eagles, up 1 spot. They beat the Cowboys. Now, is that worth a lot? No. But they're 13-3, point differential plus 153. Their strength of schedule 477. Their strength of victory 452. So I dropped Philadelphia, I think, from like 3 to 6 after they lost a couple of weeks ago. Well, I'm putting them back up to number 5. I think that's fair.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah.
Number 4. I don't love them. I just don't love them. Like, I don't know what it is. I just don't love them. And now, is Hurts supposed to be back from the concussion for Sunday?
I don't know. I'm not sure on that one.
Because he got concussed in that weird loss that they blew. Hey, Vinny.
Yeah, I think he's
Vinster loves
uncertain. I
the
think
rankings.
Mom just got home from the gym. So
Vinny loves the rankings. So, yeah, because Hurts got concussed early in that loss that they blew, or the game against the Commanders. I'm guessing he's back soon. So, anyway.
Yeah. They're locked into the 2 seed. So, I mean, play Kenny Pickett. Like, I don't think they can move up or down.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett.
Play Kenny Pickett. Rest up your starters, Nick Sirianni.
Absolutely. Number 4, down one spot. So here's where I struggle. The top 4 is tough, okay? Top 4 is real tough. Number 4, I knocked them down one spot, although they won on Monday night against San Fran, the Detroit Lions. 14-2. Point differential is stupid. It's plus 200. They've now won 2 consecutive games since that loss to Buffalo at home. Strength of schedule, very strong, 500. Strength of victory, very solid, 473. But I put them 4 because you know what? As the playoffs near and it gets to be that time of year, I couldn't keep the Chiefs down at 4.
This is Mahomes.
This is so
time,
tough.
Right? Yeah.
Because and it's Chiefs time. And here's the thing about the Chiefs where I do give them credit, despite the close games, the defense is good again.
It's good. Yeah.
But was that 3 years ago? There was a year where the Chiefs defense was really suspect.
Yeah.
And I feel like now, the last 2 years, it's been a strength. And so they creamed the Steelers on the road. And I mean, the Steelers are struggling, but they're still a good team on Christmas Day, right? Mm-hmm. So the Chiefs go from 4-3, 15-1. Point differential is not great. It's not bad. Plus 97. They've now won 6 consecutive games since they lost to the Buffalo Bills. Strength schedule 482. Strength of victory 460. So the Chiefs at 15-1, locked into the top seed in the AFC, are number 3. The Lions are 4. You could flip them.
Yeah, when they lost the Super Bowl to Brady and the Bucks, it was their offensive line that was suspect, and Mahomes was running for his life that entire game, and they kind of realized, we can't do that anymore. Like, Mahomes is a magician, but if we have sieves on the line, you can only do so much, and they exposed that. They fixed that. They went out and paid, what was it, Joe Tooney, I think they paid.
Yeah, who's now playing left
too.
tackle, though, because they've got guys hurt there. He's not playing left tackle. He's played every spot. But their defense at one point in time had some. I think they had Chris Jones, but they had a lot of question marks.
Yeah.
And now, those close games. Yes, the close games aren't Chiefs because we think of them as being a high flying offensive act. But those close games are also a credit to the fact that the defense keeps them in games now.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Number 2, standing pat, and you can debate this, but it's the Vikings.
Okay.
14-2. Point differential now up to, by the way, you guys, plus 122. They have won 9 consecutive games, which is the longest winning streak of anyone on this list. Strength of schedule 445. Strength of victory only 404. That's the one thing that could drag them down a bit. But the Packers win. Yes, it was close. We can debate if it should have been close or not, but they beat the Packers. When Detroit goes and plays a San Fran team that the Vikings beat when San Fran cared a lot more. Well, at this point in time, San Fran's been eliminated. They're banged up to hell. The Packers are now going to play Chicago. The Vikings are playing big games here. So I am keeping the Vikings at 2, and then, of course, staying at 1 for the 3rd or 4th consecutive week now. The Buffalo Bills, they creamed shocked by this, the Jets. 13-3, plus 164 in point differential, which is second to the Lions among these rankings. They have now won. Buffalo has 3 consecutive games. Strength of schedule 476. Strength of victory 442. So Bills, Vikings, Chiefs, Lions, and Eagles are my top 5. 6 through 10, Ravens, Packers, Commanders, Rams, and Chargers. Playoff teams that I am not including. The Bucks for now. So the Bucks are not officially a playoff team. They're fighting with the Falcons.
Yep.
And by the way, the Falcons swept them. I don't know how. This should not have happened. But for right now, the Bucks are the first place team in the NFC South. I would much prefer, if I was a team, to see the Falcons win, because I think that they are a easy one and done. The Bucks actually could create some waves, but they're not in the playoffs yet officially. The Texans, who have clinched the AFC South but have a point differential of -9. They've lost 2 consecutive games. That division is just not that good.
No, it's
and
not.
then the Broncos, who lost in Sean Payton clock management fashion to the Bengals on Saturday. And then, as I said before, the Steelers, who have lost games to Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Kansas City, are the 4th playoff team. So 4 of those playoff teams are not in my top 10.
I'll give you a playoff started today or playoff scenario because there's a lot at stake still for Vikings. Obviously, 1 seed and opponent, but also let's in the AFC for just a second. So the Chiefs locked into the 1 seed. The Broncos are playing the Chiefs. The Broncos have to win to get that last playoff spot. So maybe Carson Wentz, my favorite quarterback ever, wows us and steals one against Denver with the JV squad. But if I'm Buffalo and I'm locked into the 2 seed, which I believe they're locked into the 2, man, getting Denver or if Joe Burrow beats the Steelers and somehow the Chiefs beat the Broncos, that means I believe the Bengals are in as the last playoff seed. And Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen in Buffalo, Super Wildcard Weekend, man, that would be a blast. That'd be an awesome fight.
Oh, my God. Think about the difference, too.
It's a huge difference.
In teams. Think about the difference in teams. It's just, yeah. And look, Cincinnati, if nothing else, is fun.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they got flaws left and right? Defensively, they're completely flawed. Defensively. Their kicker, you've got one effing job, as Burrow screamed, and the boom mics picked it up when he didn't make the field goal. I love Joe Burrow.
Oh,
he's wound. He's a winner. He is just flat out a winner. He is the definition of a captain.
Yep.
But my God, can you imagine? Because, I mean, I think we all can see a scenario, although they certainly would not be favored, where the Bengals shock the Bills, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can see that one.
100%.
Yeah.
It'd be a gunfight, essentially.
Where do you think Joe Burrow is, just since he came up right now? Where do you think he is in the MVP discussion?
Well, he's not going to probably win it, but legitimately, if they had a replacement level quarterback, we talk about wins above replacement in baseball a ton.
Sure.
If they had an average quarterback, they would maybe have 2 or 3 wins.
Let's say they make the playoffs. Like, so let's say they do make the playoffs. Where do you think he comes in from an
3rd or
MVP
4th?
talent?
I don't think he'll get
Josh
the
Allen
respect.
won?
Josh Allen won. Lamar will be up there again. He won't crack the top 2.
I think nationally he's going to get more votes than Darnold.
Yeah. I mean, he's Joe Burrow. Like, that's
right. Well,
that's
and you're looking at like here's the thing to take the 10,000-foot view, right? Here's the thing that people nationally are going to say. Okay, Darnold, great year, right? Great pop-up year. But O'Connell plays how big a role in that year? You're throwing to Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson. Like, you're working with an offense that has phenomenal skill position players. And now Burrow has the receivers as well. But as you said, the Vikings are a good team, good defense. The Bengals are not a good team. No. They do have some nice players. I think Joe Burrow gets more votes than Darnold. And I now think that Burrow is a shoo-in for the Comeback Player of the Year award, because remember, he got hurt, and they have basically, the Damar Hamlin addendum now is, you can't just be a backup like Sam was in San Fran and come back and play well, and you are the Comeback Player of the Year, because they got all pissed off last year because Joe Flacco came off his couch, won it, and Damar Hamlin, who was, near death, didn't. So I think Burrow shoo-in for the Comeback Player of the Year award, and I think he's going to get more votes than Sam for the MVP award.
Okay, so for the NFC playoff picture, so obviously we know Vikings beat the Lions are the 1 seed. But that's easy. That's just 1 seed bye. No path, whatever. If they lose to the Lions, here's what's at stake for the Vikings according to the ESPN playoff machine. So I have, I believe, these correct teams highlighted. If the Bucks beat the Saints and the Rams lose to Seattle, Minnesota would go to Los Angeles as the 5th seed to play the Rams, who would be the 4 seed. The Bucks would actually be the 3 seed in that scenario.
Yeah.
If the Rams beat the Seahawks and the Bucks still beat the Saints, then Minnesota goes to Tampa because they'll be the 4 seed there. Tampa would be. So I think those are they're going to play either Los Angeles or Tampa if they're the 5 seed. Ooh. That is going to be the situation at stake, unless I believe if Atlanta, because if Atlanta beats the Panthers, which is likely, and the Saints upset the Bucks in Tampa, then Minnesota goes to Atlanta to play the Falcons as the 4 seed. So
sign me up.
And by the way, we'll know who the 5th seed is playing by the time Sunday Night Football starts. So we'll know the loser of that outcome will know who they will be traveling to by the time kickoff, I believe, for Sunday Night Football starts. So we'll have some of that murkiness finalized.
So much fun.
But man, yeah, this is going to be an absolute blast. And if I'm I don't like being pick your playoff path because you're in the playoffs. You're playing good teams.
And there's two things, right? Like the conversation is this. The playoff path that you're clearly going to pick is first round bye, and then, potentially 2 playoff games at home. You're picking that one. As far as teams go, yeah, that's always so tough. Yeah. But I mean, sign me up for the Falcons.
Yes.
The Falcons do not belong anywhere near the playoffs. And again, the fact they swept the Bucs makes 0 sense to me.
Yeah, very strange. But if you were to rank them, obviously you would. If you were the 5th seed, in Minnesota's case, it'd be Atlanta number 1, probably the Bucs number 2, and I would say the Rams are the team you don't want to play again.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of baggage. There's a lot of baggage there. There's a lot of baggage for O'Connell. Yes, that would be. And I think the Rams. Look, I think the Rams are just really well run.
Yeah.
Tampa. My only thing with Tampa is, Baker's played really well, and he's sort of, he can be a wild card. He's popped up more and more with great games.
Oh yeah.
But yes, I probably would like to avoid the Rams if possible. But I mean, my God, if you win this game, you don't have to worry about any of it, man.
Yep.
2 weeks, time to rest, home playoff game in this place. Mm-hmm. Incredible.
Yeah, gonna be a blast. We're super excited for it. Hit the like button, subscribe button here on Purple Daily. We'll have a Thursday tomorrow. Phil out of town, taking some time off until Feedback Friday when we'll be back at full strength for that show, plus a Purple Picks, the final one of the regular season. So that'll be good. And then late night vent line here on Sunday night, because we have Sunday Night Football between the Vikings and Lions. So get your coffee ready. I don't know if Judd drinks coffee late at night like that. I don't know if that'll be the case. I can't drink coffee past 4 p.m. Otherwise, I will be up for 12 hours.
I'm caffeine proof.
I can't.
I'm caffeine proof.
Yeah, there might be a cocktail involved on Dex Tweets' side if things are going well or bad. I don't know which side.
You might need the cocktail more if it's not going well.
Exactly. So a lot of fun stuff still on tow here. And by the way, should shout this out. We should have done this at the top of the show. You guys helped Purple Daily climb up to number 6 on the Apple football charts. That is our highest ranking ever. I mean, there's podcasts like Barstool Sports and plenty of other amazing podcasts that are up there, and we are basically the only team-centric show that is amongst some of the biggest national podcast audience, and that's all because of you guys who have listened and watched and consumed this show. So I know Phil's not on today, but from Phil, Judd, myself, everyone else at SCORE from behind the scenes and our sales side, thank you for making that happen. Appreciate you guys supporting Purple Daily. When Vikings are good, yes, it's good for business too, but we appreciate you guys because this is it's still sometimes it's an exceeding expectations pinch me moment for all of us because it's like, holy crap, look how far this has come up for us. So thank you
awesome.
To everyone. We appreciate it. All right, Daily Vikings Entertainment. This is Purple Daily. Thursday tomorrow. Talking at you then.